lovely people. Welcome to another episode on Alta Call MAFS. It is the rewatch of MAFS Season 9, the Charlotte season. And with me is my lovely co host for this season, Jen. Hi, Jen. How are you?
Hi, Teen. I have to say, I have the biggest podcast crush on you because I listened to you on another podcast. I'm like, she's so good. So do what you do. You're doing so good. Keep it up. I don't know where you find the time to do two podcasts plus be guest on all these other ones, but I'm so impressed by you. I love you. Make my days go by when I'm at the gym. So keep it up.
That's so nice, Jen. Guys, I did not expect this. We've been chit chatting and she did not say anything. I hit record and here we go. Oh, thank you. I needed that pick me up. And what she's referring to, guys, is go check out Bitches Better podcast. I featured on there. We talked about Real Housewives of Atlanta. And as always, it was fun chatting with Raven. How are we doing in this world?
We're doing not too bad. We are, we're making it work. We're adulting. We're finding joy in the little things. We're looking forward to whatever's happening next. We're seeing monkeys. So, we balance everything out here.
That's good. I see your smiles all the time. And so
Yes.
that's great. Okay. Happy Pride, everyone.
Woohoo.
For anyone listening that's a homophobe, sorry to that man. Happy Pride, everyone. Okay, as usual, housekeeping. Patreon reminding you that you can always listen to any episodes that are out here ad-free. There is a tier for that. You can listen if you want bonus episodes. We have Sister Wives. I took the plunge and I listened and I watched 90 Day Hunt for Love. I keep saying I'm not going to go in, and I went in, and honestly, it's not so bad. It's kind of like, their version of Bachelor in Paradise, Love Island, two shows that I really, really love. So I'm actually sold with the first two episodes. So I am going to cover that. I'm working on something that is not confirmed yet, but basically the point is bonus episodes are out there for you if you'd like on the Patreon. So check it out. And if you are not inclined to join right now, you can be a free member and you can join every now and then. There's some episodes, for free members, and you can always chat with fellow TV show lovers on there in our community chat, just letting you know. And also, I'm open to any suggestions. If there's anything that you want me to cover, let me know. Oh, and also the ultimatum. They finally announced a date that is coming, so I will be covering that. So the first episode will probably be a regular episode, and then the rest will be on bonus, and that's June 29th, I believe. But check it out. It's also the queer season, which is the better season. So
Yes.
Patreon.com/AltoCallMAFS. Are you in on that, Jen? Do you
I
watch?
am. Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
you
I
do.
think
How could I ask
yes,
that question?
yes.
That's true.
The queers do it so much better, and that's when I started following folks. I'm like, yes, these are my ladies. Speaking of stuff that you're watching, were you ever in the couples therapy realm?
Yeah.
Were you following that? Are you following it
Yeah.
now? Okay.
Yeah, I haven't started the new season, but I've been telling everyone it's back, is back. You need to catch up on all the other old seasons. And I need to listen. Couples therapy is serious stuff. It's not stuff I can, like a casual watch or ear watch. So I just haven't, there's been a lot going on and I just haven't had the time. When you watch stuff and you have to take notes, it's a different experience.
Yeah.
Couples therapy, I don't have to take notes. So I'm savoring it.
It is. I'm catching clips here and there. And Orna, I mean, these people that have decided to put all of their lives on
Mm-hmm.
TV in a very different way. It's very different to be in actual live therapy than what some of
Mm-hmm.
these fools are doing on MAFS. So kudos to them for putting their stuff all out there. But Orna just has this presence and this calmness and this like, well, let's get to the root of this. You can see kind of on her eyes, she wants to be like, you're an idiot, stop it. But she doesn't.
Yeah.
She handles it very classy. I love that show so much.
That girl good.
She's very good.
They did good. Cause with the other people, even with our experts, you kind of question, are you really, how are you a TV therapist and
Mm-hmm.
also a real therapist and all that? I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
Orna does it, but she seems genuinely interested and she has her methods, and then you have a breakthrough and you're just like, oh. And I remember that one couple that was like, I thought that we would do better with a black therapist because someone who
Hmm.
understands, but I'm glad we got you
Yeah.
because you're able to listen and you're able to understand, and it's a different perspective, and that's how good Orna is. And yeah, they're actually looking for couples now. I think I saw them casting or asking if you're interested. It's free therapy. If you're not, if you're one of those people who are unlike me, you just want to put everything out there
Mm-mm,
that's going out there.
no.
Why not? Honestly, this is a great opportunity. Free therapy, you get a breakthrough. Everybody else is going to know your business, but who cares? You know.
Yeah, but remember how like the whole season at MAFS went for Michelle where she thought it was going to go this way and it went that way? I feel like that's how it would go for me. I feel like I'd go on this couples therapy thinking the therapist is going to be like, "You're right, Jen, and your husband's big dumb dummy," and they're going to be like, "No, no, 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 you're the problem. It's you." I'm like, "Oh, well, great."
I think I saw the preview of the current season where this lady, she's in typical New Yorker and is just abrasive the way that she talks. And she's like, she tells her husband, just let it out. And Orna is like, he's trying to.
How she stays so calm, I don't know. And I think it's the same lady, the lady with the glasses. And the clip I saw today, she was there was like she goes, "I just want to talk about finances." And Orna says, "Okay, talk about finances." And so the husband starts talking about it and she interrupts him. And Orna's like, "Yeah, you see why this would be difficult for him to talk to you? You're coming off as angry." "I'm not angry." Well, you sound angry." So it's like, yes, get her, Orna, get her.
Yeah, it's the same couple. So, yes, I can't wait to dive in. And yes,
Yes.
I will be getting into it. And if you don't
Woo.
know about couples therapy, it's on
Oh,
Showtime or the way the streamers work, Paramount Plus with Showtime. So, check it out. All the seasons are worth watching. And finally, like I told you last week, and just like that, finally premiered. And our first episode recap with me and Nana are out there. The podcast is Sex and the City, the Rewatch. So check it out if you're interested in looking for a and just like that recap podcast.
definitely do.
All right.
Because she she's so deadpan when she gives her responses sometimes, where it's so funny just to listen to her be like, "Yeah, I didn't enjoy that."
Yeah.
So I like you guys are
Because
good balance.
she's trying her best. Cause she'd be like, this show is just working my nerve. Like every season I think it's gonna get better and it's not. So
Yes.
okay, so updates, maps updates. Last week I told you that Emily put up a post and was like, Lady Gaga or Beyonce, who's more talented or whatever. Guys, Lady Gaga won that poll. Not like
Really?
51%. She won by 77%.
Oh.
So I don't know. I mean, it could be a case of maybe 10 people answered and that's what it was. But either way, Lady Gaga won that poll. Just thought I'd provide an update.
Mm.
No comment. Um, Jasmine from the Natural season finally got married to her friend boy. And I don't think I've ever actually like seen his face. He's a cutie. He's a cutie patootie.
Well, I would expect nothing
Um,
less for Jasmine. She was
okay.
all that in a bag of chicks. Of course, he's got to step his game up. Good for her.
She looked really pretty. The only people from the cast that were on there were Nicole and Chris and Shaq. That surprised me.
Hmm.
Yeah. So maybe the others had come in. I mean, I'm not expecting Eris. Of course not.
Oof, no.
But maybe there was a other commitments. I don't know, but I was just surprised that it was just three of them. Okay, Claire from season 17 got engaged. She got engaged in Italy.
I'm, I was trying to muster something nice to say, but I don't care.
Oh, okay. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. And this is not really an update. And I just want to say, like, Michelle from the season looks really good. Like, she does a lot of workouts. I think she did a Ask Me Anything and they asked about her workouts. And she's like, yeah, I've always worked out. They just didn't play it up, on the show. But I stepped it up because I knew I had to look good at the reunion. And I was like, you know what? Fair.
Exactly.
Fair. But she looks good. Her clothes look good. Like she's pretty stylish. I know we gave her crap because when she brought the stylist and we're like, what do you need a stylist for? But Mouse just really didn't show her in the light that what I'm seeing now on Instagram. She just seems to have like, a full life. Her friends are actually her friends because it seemed like we only saw the friends that were not paid, but like the publicist and then the stylist and then the eyebrow lady. But she just looks really good and I enjoy watching her stories.
And she's very intentional when it comes to being professional. So I can see how that could work for her career. It maybe didn't work for her marriage, but I could see how that would work well for her outside
Mm,
of the show. Good for
yeah.
you, Michelle.
And finally, Merla, Johnny, and Rachel from the Houston season, they linked up. I don't think it was pickleball, but it was some sport, something that they were doing. But remember, they've always been good friends. Haven't seen them in a while. I mean, Rachel has a new boo that she's been hanging out with. Johnny got married. And Merla, I don't know her relationship update, but I haven't seen her with anyone. But all three of them linked up and had a good time
Yeah, and
together.
Rachel's moving in with her boo.
Yay, Rachel.
Yeah,
The
she's so
summer Rachel is in
sweet.
full effect, as she told us. So, yeah. So those are all the updates, and now it is time for the MAFS mailbag. Like I tell you guys every week, let me know if you have any questions. It doesn't have to be reality TV, it doesn't have to be MAFS, it can be MAFS, anything. Just ask me and I will say it on here. This week, the cast of season 50 Survivor was revealed and it had us all in a tizzy because we're all like collectively what the fuck. So I had two people, Charisma and Kaylee. Hi guys. The question was, would love all caps to hear all your recent Survivor takes. What about the season 50 cast, season 48 as a whole, and if you're watching any other countries? Thank you so much for this question. You have opened a portal to a lot of thoughts to the point where I think I'm just going to do an episode for it. So just hang in there because I need backup. So I'm going to get backup and we're going to just like vent about Survivor. But I'll give my abridged version right now. Am I watching any other countries? Absolutely. I watch Survivor Australia because that is the best franchise out there right now, no question. Everything is in one episode. In one episode, we get a reward challenge, we get an immunity challenge, and we get blind sides, and we get people who are not afraid to play the game. There's not what we have in the United States where everyone's doing like a voting block and people are doing what they want to do and they vote according to what they think is best for their game and they're not afraid to make big moves even if it jeopardizes their game. And I absolutely appreciate that and it's always fun and somehow or the other it works out because the right person usually wins. I did watch Survivor South Africa for one season. I think that is canceled and is no longer on there. I tried watching Survivor UK and my goodness, I couldn't do it. And I say this all the time. I don't know what it is about UK reality shows. The only one I can stick through is Love Island. Everything else I tried MAFS UK and it didn't work out for me. So,
Are
yeah.
they
So
are they
basically
just
Australia is king and if Jeff probes I shouldn't say anything harsh because I was really going to say something harsh. But if Jeff Probst could just take a step back and not be so into himself and think like he's doing the best things, nothing they're doing is for our benefits. Season 50 cast is supposed to be in the hands of the fans. It is not in the hands of the fans. Nobody we want is on here. Like the cast is individually when we look through the cast, it's okay, but collectively it's like why? Why do we have three people from one season, the most recent season? Why do we have winners? I don't want winners. I don't want recent people. It's supposed to be representative of the past 25 seasons and there's a huge gap between the 20s that are people that are not there. What happened to the 50% BIPOC representation where they were supposed to always guarantee that there will be 50% of BIPOC contestants and I don't think that's being reflected in this. I could be wrong, but I just the whole thing is just confusing to me. I love Siri. We don't need to see Siri again. That's just me. But I will, save some for the episode. Oh, finally, you said season 48. The winner was great. That made it good for me. And I didn't go back and forth, but I had a conversation with someone. who was saying like they loved the season because they loved that it wasn't backstabby and it was about honor and integrity. And like I always tell you guys, Jesus is still working on me. I don't want that. You are here for $1 million. Let's get dirty. Like, you know,
I don't want any of that crap.
I'm being honest. Like Joe's here, like, are we gonna trust each other till the end? And then like they literally blocked people out because they're the foursome and they had that. So it didn't really work for me. Like take a deep breath, Tame.
Ooh,
But
is
yeah,
it
so
sounds like it's going like the challenge? Is it a challenge where it starts being clicky and everything is about your
yes.
friends versus about the competition? No, I'm out.
Yeah, but the good part is it's just one season because it's different people every season, but they just kind of got together and they just wrote it out, to the end. And then someone like Camilla, who is actually a player and wants to play, doesn't really have any power because she's not in that group. So it was just really frustrating. And I think it was, oh, it's not Chrissy. I can't remember the lady's name, but the person who was like, "You're just gonna give Joe $1 million. Like, let's stop playing and get the strong people out." Like things like that is what we're looking for. And I know we're not in our villain era. Like nothing is gonna be like, I think it was Sue Hawk when in her the final jury, and she said, "If you are burning, I wouldn't piss on you." Like I need that.
But you also need it with her terrible accent. Where is she from? Like Wisconsin or something? But you've got to do it with like that Midwest terrible accent she had. That was great.
I'll practice. I'll go find out exactly what it
Okay,
is she
thank you.
said. But listen, I'm a human being and I'm also fickle because I say that and then the slightest glimpse of villain activity that I saw on 48, which was I think Thomas trying to act like let's throw away Star's clue, and I'm like that's too mean even for me. Like that's too much. So maybe I need to sit with myself and decide like what kind of villain am I looking for or what is it? But there's just a lot um that I wish we could go back to. I don't think I'm okay with change, but the changes that we've had is kind of messing with the survivor that we knew and loved. But thank you so much for your question because, it's always good to talk about something I am passionate about, as you can see. But yes, I owe you an episode where I am going to speak in complete thoughts and talk about everything on there.
Where is it at?
What do you mean? Oh, it's
What?
not out yet. I'm working
Oh,
on
okay.
it.
Oh, okay.
I'm
No,
I,
no,
I
no, no,
want to
no.
bounce this. Oh, what do you mean?
What country is Survivor going to be in? Do you know?
Oh, it's in one island too. That's part of the problem. It's in Fiji forever and
Uh,
ever and ever. It's never going to
uh,
be different islands anymore. It's been
boo,
Fiji for the last how many seasons,
boo.
and that's it. So many complaints, Jen. Like I don't. That's why I don't even want to. I don't even want to get into it because it's not. Yeah. Okay, guys. I'm gonna take a little break, and we'll be right back and dive straight into the episode. And we are back. I feel like episode 4 is still we're still being nice. Everything's still hunky dory. There's little cracks, but the theme was like they were pretty good at conflict resolution this episode.
I think so. I mean, I was ready for a Big Trouble in Little Antigua, and it didn't really deliver. I think they always
That's
give you
good.
those. That's my husband's credit. I have to give him that. I was always ready. When they give you the teaser for the upcoming week, it's always going to be something dramatic, and even the smaller fights got resolved pretty quickly. So it's pretty. They're
Yeah.
they're, they're smooth sailing right now. Everybody has
Yeah.
perfect chemistry right now, as somebody said.
Yeah. We'll start as usual with Beth and Jamie. And I do that because when, I try to cover it by taking notes on each couple, and I noticed that Beth and Jamie get a lot of airtime, at least for now.
Well, it seems like they have a lot to give in terms of airtime. Like I don't know what Matt. I have 2 bullet points on Amber and Matt, where I probably have like 15 on Beth and Jamie. So I could see why they would be kind of focal, just because.
Yeah.
I mean, you point a camera at Beth for 2 seconds, and you've got 3 hours of content. So I can see why.
Facts. So we have it's the morning after. So it's the usual. I think we talked about it where it's like, I consummated the marriage. I had sex or not. Well, Beth lets us know that she got her period. So unfortunately, there is no boom boom. And then it made me wonder, so why did she have the lingerie on? Just for TV?
I have so many questions about Beth in this episode. Like, I don't know how her stuff
Yep.
works, but
Yep.
me running around in a bathing suit that's not black and jumping around playing volleyball is not my ministry. So good on you, girl. I don't know how she did a lot of stuff that she did because I was just panicked the entire time.
I thought you were going to mention the tub because I was like, what day are
That,
we on?
yes, that
Because,
too.
um, sorry guys, if you're easily grossed out, normal bodily function.
Yeah.
But those were the thoughts.
Which shocks me because I feel, to be more gross, that Jamie's one of those, put a towel down kind of guys.
Oh my God, I had the same thought. I really had the same thought. And I was like, let me not judge this man. so, so they talk about being uptowners when they go back home. They're like surprised they've never run into each other. And she's like, oh, we probably never have. She's like, if I did, I feel like I would remember you. So they're just having like a leisurely breakfast with a lot of fruit. Jamie feels like they are well matched and the experts have done right. Jamie is curious to see how they she handles playing volleyball because they've done all their, good morning. There was a lot of good morning footage. And I was like, okay, keep it going, keep it going. We get it. So they're out of bed now and they're seasoned today. And they're about to play volleyball. But he wants to see how she handles playing volleyball because she's prissy. And I'm like, oh man, at this point, like, this is nice. This is the honeymoon. The couples haven't seen each other and, they're just spending time. And I'm like, this is what they should do. And I say that. And then all the couples start traipsing
Yep.
in one by one. And I'm like, oh, okay. But you know what? This is still fine. I think this is a good thing that they should take into the new season. Like, you can hang out, but not as much.
And I think they handled it well. I mean, I think it helped that nobody was attracted to anybody, a la Love is Blind. But I think that they were like, okay, I see you with him, or I see you with them, or oh, you look so happy, or oh, my girl. Like, I think they handled it in a way that wasn't, it felt refreshing and sweet, and maybe it helped because they didn't fly over together and they didn't have all that together time before. Because I feel like lately there's early and earlier they're being exposed to each other, so it's nice that they at least put some time before that happened. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm referring to. I'm like, you like in new era maps, you meet at the airport, you hang out
Hmm.
in the van, you
Hmm.
hang out when you come back. I think they made them sit in the lobby for drinks, then you hang out and have dinner, then you
Yeah.
hang out and do all that. And I'm like, listen, at the airport is where the Madison and David attraction started. And the van was where the Orion tension with Cameron, kind of happen. Like, just limit these people so they can focus on each other. And I think in Nashville was where Shaq made a comment like, if XYZ was going on, we would be on the same level as you guys, and compared himself to Nicole and Chris. Like, you're giving them opportunities to compare themselves and then make them feel like they're not making progress. But just make it a quick hi, bye, and then not like they're not hanging out, because later on when we talk about the lunch, it's not on camera, but we hear that they all had lunch together.
Oh,
But I
okay.
think just limiting it would be, a good idea maybe to try, and we'll see.
Yeah. I thought it was cute
So,
that again everybody the couples got to meet, and the girls got close, the guys got not close, but hey, let me introduce you to your partner. And I thought that was kind of cute. They handled it well when they did the men versus women volleyball, so it wasn't too serious. It was pretty light. I liked it. Although
yeah, it was
two person volleyball is the worst. I don't know why anybody would think that was a good idea.
so when they first meet, they all had commentary on Matt's height. They were just like, "Oh my god, like what is this 5'2", 6'9", 6'7" situation?" But Greg says everyone is comfortable with each other, and then they do the usual Matt's tradition. The boys go their separate ways, the girls go their separate ways. Amber, they go in a circle talking about their partners. Amber says that Matt is perfect. Deonna says it's been like they've known each other for years. Beth talks about they're already talking about matching lips, tattoos on their asses. And Deanna's like, you do you. Like, maybe initials or something, but going straight to lips. So like she's Beth is like, yeah, because when he's mad at me and I say kiss my ass, he doesn't really have to because it's already on there. And I'm like, okay.
No, so
Then
much.
Beth asks, okay, who has banged their husband? And Deanna says, the most important question is, have you? And she says, I can't because Mother Nature came and told me to sit my whole ass down. That's exactly how she said it. I do it so you don't have to watch.
That was perfect. That was perfect.
And they cut away to a confessional where Iris says, Elizabeth matches to the beat. She's still not Beth, guys. We're on Beth Watch. Elizabeth matches to the beat of her own drums. And I just hope that Jamie has the drumsticks. I just thought that was so good. So Deanna's like, yeah, we're taking it slow. I want us to have a foundation. And Amber's like, yeah, I tried to hold it, but it went down the first night. And Iris is so excited. She's like, oh, yeah, girl. Yeah. I'm like, okay. She just had sex with her husband.
That's
So
what I mean by the two sides of Iris. Like, there's this one very, I'm not going to call it classy or prissy, but she's got this one very refined side. And then that line between her refined side and her thug side are so close. And it's just with a snap of a finger, she'll switch from one to the other.
she's just an excitable person. And I was, well, good for her, honestly. But Amber asked if anyone has had any challenges, and not really. Iris says the only question was that she just asked him um, if he's serious about the post 8 weeks, if he's going to be that. And we'll get to that when we get to their section, but I just thought it's too soon. It's day what, two? To
Yeah.
be asking if you're serious or if this is fun or if you're just going to be here forever, because why go through the whole thing if you're not serious? But we'll talk about that during their segment. So for the guys, Matt says that it's been easy and comfortable. Jamie says that it's been fun and it just works. They cut away to Keith. If you remember, for the ladies, they cut away to Iris, and then for the guys, they cut away to Keith. And Keith says, Elizabeth seems like she's not, she likes a lot of color. Like she brings a lot of color. Basically, just trying a nice way to say like she's a lot. But Greg says that, yeah, we're not having sex. And even if it doesn't happen after 8 weeks, that we have the same mindset that this is forever. So I'm going to be patient. Keith tells Greg and Jamie, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're going to have sex on the honeymoon. Keith shares that, you know, on my end, I find her attractive, but she's a virgin. And they all have an instant reaction, but quickly compose themselves.
Yeah.
And then Jamie starts smiling, and Jamie's like, "Well, that's exciting." And like, they start laughing. Greg is speechless. In a confessional, he's like, I, I just, like I salute them. That's great. I'm just glad it's not me. I'm like, again, I still always think like they did Keith a disservice doing this. Like it wasn't fair.
And
Matt, oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, what were the guys? At that point, they were very aware that they were on TV,
Mm-hmm.
that they
Mm-hmm.
they needed to say not what they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to say, and
Mm-hmm.
you saw it like instantly. All three of them were like, "Oh, never mind,
Yeah.
I'm on TV. Good for you, bro." It's
Yeah.
like, "Oh no."
They all wanted to be like, couldn't be me, bro. Could not be me like that. But they were just like, ah. And then that's why when Jamie just puts that plastered smile on his face and was like, that's exciting. I just burst out laughing because I'm like, okay, that was not the first take. So Matt asked him, do you have a problem with that? And he says, nah, but I just don't want to put any pressure on her. I just want her to be comfortable. Matt tells us, like, I am definitely relieved, like, good on Iris, but definitely relieved that my wife is not in that situation for that. So it was a pretty good, like you said, they handled it pretty well and everyone got along and everyone seems matched. And all the couples are genuinely happy at this point. So it's not even like they're acting, because by this time, for let's say Claire and Cameron, they were already like, oh, let him put his arm around you, let him just hold your hand. And people are already freaking out. And we've said this before, I think in the first episode, that is the difference. Like early maps, people seem to be willing to give it a chance and just hope for the best. And new maps, everyone is fixated on the things that they don't like.
Yeah.
But the
You didn't
argument
carry
could
my
be
bag. We're done. Hmm.
that's true. Because the argument could be said that were they better matched, we don't know. But I'm choosing to believe that they're just choosing not to focus on the things because we're going to talk about some minor conflicts that they come about and they work through it. It doesn't become this big thing because they really don't like the person and they're looking for something to fixate on that is a valid reason for them not to like the person.
Right. Right. Yeah,
So,
I mean,
I,
it helps that everybody's attracted to everybody, and I think luckily Beth from the get-go. It wasn't like, oh, she was shy and then came out. Like everybody pretty much is who they are presented, although Greg became funny after a while. So that helps too, that nobody wildly has changed their personality in the 3 days that they've been together. So that helps a lot.
but here's the thing, and here's what I mean. I feel like new era maths, whoever she's matched with would be like, Beth is a lot. Beth doesn't know this. Beth didn't. As opposed
Hmm.
to Jamie, who is supposed to be, I think his tagline was Mr. Picky or
Yep.
something. And
Yep.
he was still fine and he took it in good stride. And it wasn't like, he's like, she's a lot. Okay, I have question marks about her dad, but it's not an end breaker. Like, it's like, we'll see how he goes. But in new maths, that would have been like, I don't know. We're just gonna. It's a problem for me. Like I like. So I'm very reserved. I don't want anyone who. It will be like this thing
Yeah.
that it shouldn't be. At least on my end, that's what I think.
Yeah, it feels like a Lindsay. Like I think Lindsay from Boston, we kind of got that edit from her where she came out. I mean, it helped that she was a little tipsy on her wedding day, but she was a lot. And I don't think Mark knew what to do with that. Whereas Jamie, and maybe it's an age thing, because Jamie's 35, that he's like,
Mm,
okay, I'm at the point in my dating life, or I'm at the point in my, if I want something serious, I've got to be more flexible versus me being 27 and feeling like, oh, you don't check all my stuff, I'm out. So I don't
well, I don't ascribe age anymore. Eris was 40, so
know. Oh,
you know,
it's true.
we got older. It didn't matter. I think Cameron was like 37. So
Oh, well,
okay. So after the game, Beth goes to shower. She said she waited for Jamie to come back to the hotel room and have lunch. He didn't. Her words, homeboy, was gone for 2 hours. And she just had lunch by herself. She gets back to the hotel and then he's there. And she's like, you left me. Like I was waiting for you. And he's like, oh, my bad. And she's like, don't you think I wanted to eat? Do you think I wanted to eat lunch by myself on my honeymoon? And Jamie's like, well, I'm not a mind reader. I don't know. And then she's like, well, you left me. And then he's like, well, I feel like you did the same thing first because all the other wives waited and they had lunch with their husbands. And she's like, why do you think I would stand there and stay in the heat? So basically, they're going back and forth. But her gripe is, why didn't he check for her when she wasn't around? Like, don't you care where I am? And because he kept saying, I didn't know where you were. And I was like, okay, where there are no phones, it's just 2019. What's the problem?
I
Also, why didn't she just
mean,
tell him before she left?
yeah, I
Hey, I'm
thought
just gonna take a shower. We'll be
that.
right back.
And that would be an easy, especially with everything, she was in her sensitive lady time to be like, all right, I just played volleyball. Let me do what I got to do to freshen up. I'll be right back. Because it seems like that's something she would say. I don't see her being shy to say, hey, I've got to change my, you know what, I'll be right back. So I don't know that whole, it's weird that we didn't get to see how all of that transpired, because it's hard to go, oh, well, you should have did this or you should have did this, where it seems equally they both could have resolved this if she had just said, I'm going to go, and he had said, okay, I'll save a seat for you or something. So I don't know where it got off, but maybe he's one of the husbands that didn't ask for his wife's phone number, so he didn't have it.
First of all, I like how you're trying to make it all like, oh, her sensitive. It is called a period, and she wants to change her tampon. These are normal things we will normalize.
Thank you.
If you are cringy about it, not you, Jen, because I know you were trying to be nice. If you're
Yes.
cringy about it, then maybe you shouldn't be having sex. But it's just, those are the things that Jen was referring to.
Thank you for the clarification.
But yes, I don't know. This was just crazy to me, like how they had this miscommunication. Because on the flip side, she's not entirely wrong. It is not entirely crazy to want to think that, hey, you didn't see me for a while. Why didn't you think? I think she would have done it, but she knew where he was, but she was over at the hotel. But why? I mean, they could both accuse each other of the same thing, but why wasn't he thinking like, oh, Beth is not here, where is she? Let me go look for her. So you're right. Maybe they didn't get each other's phone numbers, but that in itself is a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of. But also, to your point, there's so many producers. Why don't you go, hey, where's my wife? Or, oh, where's my husband? This seems like a avoidable fight unless somebody was
Hmm.
trying to stir up something. But
Some
I
drama.
think they're both stubborn.
Yeah.
And also, I kind of like what Jamie said was like, yeah, we both didn't feel valued in that moment. And so, which is true because I can say that Beth is somebody that wants a lot of attention and wants to be looked after and wants to be the center of things. I don't know if Jamie is that way totally, but I could see how he'd want that from his brand new wife.
Yeah. I think he is, but he wouldn't know how to express it.
Yes.
So he says, like, listen, the once she snapped at him, if anybody snaps at him, he retreats. And she says the fact that he was not upset and he was like, why should I care? Was just like a trigger for her. But somehow they get to a point, they reach a resolution, and it's done. And they acknowledge each other. And like Jen said, they just felt like they weren't valued. And I was like, good. Because again, we always have to remind ourselves like these people just met. It's not like they've been dating. They just met and they don't know each other. They don't know their communication styles. They don't know what the other needs or values. So it's a work in progress.
Yeah, but his oh my bad was triggering and harsh. Like you can see she's so upset. He's like, oh my bad. What?
Oh, so they're having dinner because I think each couple eventually had dinner during the episode, and they're talking about living together, and he asked her like, how do you feel? Who asked who? Somebody asked about, she asked him about kids. Like,
Yes.
where do you stand on that? And he's like, yeah, I'm leaning towards nay. And then they have this big dramatic music, and I'm sure this is where ads were. And they
Mm-hmm.
come back and do it again. And she's like, okay, good. Me too. It was a nothing burger at all. She does say that the experts kept asking her, like, how do you feel about kids? How do you feel about kids? And she was just like, oh my God, she felt so much pressure. And she's like, if I just tell them a couple of years, answer, they'll leave me alone. And he's like, yeah, I did the same thing too. And this is a whole, and I'm surprised they kept this in because this goes to show like these things are not always answered correctly. So when
Mm-hmm.
everyone wants to blame, including myself, blame the experts and all that, they are working with what they were told. Because we saw that also last season where they did ask Michelle, what if he's not and he's working towards this and all that? Granted, maybe the full thing wasn't disclosed, but she said she was okay with it. And here we are. And
Yeah.
this is what happened. And luckily, they actually took what they said into consideration because this could have been terrible and this could have gone a different route. But they're both on the same page of maybe if we feel like, but for right now, like, we not interested in kids. So yay them.
Ooh, that whole thing freaked me out because then I was thinking about, well, what else did you guys lie about? And what else did you lie
Ah,
about that's going to be an issue later?
yeah.
Especially because I think when they were resolving their issue in bed, um, they were saying, we really shouldn't keep score in a marriage. And I was like, ooh, I don't know if that's going to work for these two. Ooh.
Like, even when they're not thinking about it, they're keeping score.
Right. I think Beth said, "Oh, I'm not somebody that keeps score," and I was like, "I don't believe you. That is lie. That is a lie." Mm-mm.
So they go back to the room, and Beth has set up a bubble bath for them. We are not going to revisit the conversation we had at the top of the episode. And he's surprised and he appreciates it because no one's ever done that for him. We watch them make out in the tub. And I just wondered, why has this never made it to any of the specials? Whenever we have those specials and they're doing the countdown, we always get Stasha and Nate.
Mhm.
We always get that. But how come this one's never made it? Because even I didn't remember until this rewatch. What's
Probably
this
because
one?
it's not sexy. That looked like the most uncomfortable thing. I don't know how tall the two of them are, but that bathtub looks so small and both of their knees were just bent. Like there was nothing about that was sexy. It was kind of like we're trying to keep the bubbles to cover everything, but we can't fit in here. But let's roll in, and Beth's skin was all red. Like there was nothing about that was sexy, in my opinion.
Okay, and that's why we have not seen them. So, okay, any other additions for Beth
I
and Jamie?
feel like the reason that they will not have kids is because Jamie is going to spend the rest of his life having Beth wipe stuff on him. So, like when they were playing volleyball and she wiped her face on him, or when she wanted the robe and she's like, "Can you get it warm?" Like he has a kid. He has a kid that he gets to make out with, but he has a kid. So I don't see kids in their future. That's for
Well,
me.
okay. We'll take a break and come back to talk about the rest of the couples. All right. Let's talk about Amber and Matt. There's not much to say
Shortest
about them,
conversation ever.
but Amber lets us know that last night one thing led to another and they consummated their marriage and hope he enjoyed it because she did. Matt says it was romantic and it was perfect. They have a scene where they work out together on the beach and they're making all these sexual jokes about hip thrusts and it's for your benefit and all that stuff. And then, oh, something each couple also did was they had their own activity to do during the honeymoon. And for them, they're going on a tour of Antigua. And I don't think I knew that Antigua is only 108 square miles.
That was so small. Oh no.
Wow, I didn't know that. I mean, they say you can't learn from reality TV, but I did. That's gonna be my fun fact now. Did you know that Antigua is only 108 square miles of beaches too? So
You're going to be at dinner parties, be like, hey, I got a fun fact for you guys.
how many square miles do you think Antigua is? You know who knows? This guy. I do. And I'm gonna get kicked out and they're gonna switch seats with me.
They're going to take away your booze.
How many of these has she had? Okay. Yeah, they have a romantic walk on the beach, and honestly, that's it. Nothing about these guys. They're just banging each other, so there's
Yeah.
nothing.
I have two notes. My one is consummated their marriage, and two is when they did the pinky promise kiss is the first time Matt seemed human to me. But those are the only two notes I took in that entire hour of an episode.
What were they promising?
See, that's how not memorable they are. I think that they would travel, maybe.
Oh, that they will always have fun. I think was what they were talking about for the rest of their lives and stuff. But good luck
Mhm.
to them.
Yeah.
We move on to Deonna and Greg. She says it's nice and she feels comfortable, while Greg says he wants to know everything about her, that she's very direct, but it makes him like her even more. And then we get a switcheroo because they sit down and then it would appear that Deanna is complaining about Greg's compliments. I was just a little confused as the first time I watched it, where I was like, let me get this clear. She's complaining about it, but I think we get more context because they kind of made it seem like that she was complaining about it. But she says she knows that they're genuine, but she's getting like 100 a day. And then we get a montage of this man just saying, "You're beautiful. This is cute. Your eyes are this and that." She says she appreciates them, but she doesn't need a whole bunch because she doesn't know what to do with them when there's too much. And Greg is like, you know what? I get it. Like
So
we just
sweet.
met. It might not have like as much gravitas if I'm just throwing it out there. And that's what I mean. New era maps would have been like, I just don't know what she wants. Like I'm trying to make her comfortable and telling her all these nice things, and she's telling me she doesn't want it. Well, what do I do? I don't know.
Hmm.
It gives me concern. But Greg
Yeah.
is like, I get it. I can turn it out a bit. In fact, they turn it into a joke because she's like, I'm just asking for a little bit more time to get used to it. And Greg is like, but also I want compliments. I want do you want your man to feel good, but I need 75 a day. So
He's
that was
funny.
funny.
But yeah, I think that's kind of what they're doing when they're learning about each other. I think, and I quoted Pastor Cal on this, where it said, or it might have been Viviana, that this is a time for them to build a foundation of intimacy and experience first together, and they're still learning about each other. And I think generally people in a relationship will treat the other person how they want to be treated. It's the whole love language thing. So clearly his love language is words of affirmation, and he's giving her 1,000 compliments because he wants a couple back. And so maybe when she was like, I don't really know what to do with that, they're going to chalk that up to her being single for 10 years. But really, it's a matter of he's telling you he wants compliments. So maybe give him a couple back.
Yeah, I agree. But I think the best part is just that at least they were able to communicate that to each other and
Yes,
are
I agree.
actually building a foundation. But I do think it's funny the surprise in your voice every time you say Greg is funny.
So worried about him those first couple of episodes. At the wedding, he was so serious and he was so like, I wanted this since college. And then when she said she hadn't dated for 10 years, he was very concerned about that. And so they bamboozled me and they gave me a picture of him that isn't truly who he is. He's really funny.
So they're about to play shuffleboard, and Greg learns that Deanna does not read instructions because the instructions are right there, and he's trying to read it. And she's like, "Come on, let's go." And he's like, "How do you know what to do?" She's like, "We'll figure it out." And he's still on there. But as a sidebar, I got introduced to this game, Monopoly Deal, last week, and I'm obsessed. It's so good. Like it's been a while since I played board games. Like I'm a competitive person. I'm
Mhm.
sure everybody's like, duh. But yeah, I just
Tell us something
and
new.
it was just fun. Yeah, it was fun to be introduced to that. But I actually read the instructions, so that's why I mentioned it because she really just took the stuff and walked away. I was like, how hard could it be? We'll
And
figure it out.
played so wrong as somebody whose father used to take her to a Kellerman's like resort every summer. Like shuffleboard is something I grew up playing, and to watch them not play it correctly at all was driving me nuts because it's fun once you know what you're doing. And if they're both competitive, I would assume it would have been more fun, but I guess they needed to talk and not actually play.
Yeah. So they talk about concerns, and his was like her not being in a relationship for 10 years. Like, will she be able to communicate? Will she be able to adapt to a marriage and have patience for that? They do the whole music thing. And because, we're scarred from New Era, I'm expecting, how dare you? I feel judged.
Mm-hmm.
She just says, it's valid. I'm like, oh, okay. That's usually she's like, yeah, those are valid concerns, but I will try to make sure that I communicate if there's something that I don't like or if there's something that I need, I will let you know. She tells him that she wants to make sure that she's being open and she'll always let him know where she's at, that they're building trust. And he tells her that she should also let him know if he does anything that she doesn't like. And I'm like, oh, so nice.
They're a masterclass in this. I feel like anybody that goes on this show should have to watch this scene because that's exactly what it is. It's saying, here's what I like, here's what I don't like. Okay, I've got this is truly what compromise looks like. It's like, okay, this is not something that's comfortable for me, but it's important to you, so I'm going to try. And how hard was it? They didn't have to fight, they didn't have to argue. It was like, I want this. All right, cool, I'll try. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's do it,
My
people.
only my only beef is that she's ruining my stats because my stance is that if you just got out of the relationship or if you haven't been in a relationship for like eons, like don't bring them on maps. And I'm like, I can't use Deanna as an example now because she's doing the right things.
These two are absolute freaks of nature. And I don't know if they're freaks of nature just for the show or for just communication in a relationship. They're just so clear and they're so, this is what I would like. And it looks easy. I don't know. Maybe she kept saying she's oddly comfortable with him. And so something about what they're doing is working. So keep it up, kids. I love them.
Yeah. Their activity is ziplining. Greg is so nervous. Deanna is adventurous. She doesn't care. She's like, woo. Greg is trying not to look so scared in front of her, but he eventually does it. They also have a romantic dinner beach moment or just a beach moment. And Greg thinks that, she has her walls up. And Deanna's like, yeah, I'm not romantic. Like, I like gestures, but I'm not a hopeless romantic. And Greg is like, I'm just going to need patience, and tells her, like, don't worry. By the end of this, I'm going to turn you into a hopeless romantic. So they're different, but they're still working together because it is possible.
Yeah. And he did it in a sweet way, not in a like, well, if you don't do it this way, I'm out of here, the way that people
Yeah.
would do it now. So they're just so sweet. My only two problems with them was number one, how the zip line, I don't know if you noticed, the zip line like ended, the first one ended at a street. So that seemed real dangerous just to have the zip line just end of the street where like if something fails, you're just in the highway. So that was a problem for
Mm-hmm.
me. And then I forgot about that 2019 fashion because Beth had it and Deonna had it too. Do you remember those dresses that were like shorts and then they opened up into the full dress? They both had those
No.
on. I was like, oh, the 2019 was not a good time for any of us fashion wise.
That's funny. Time capsule all up in MAFS. All right, let's talk about our final couple, Iris and Keith. They're walking on the beach. This is the morning after, and Keith lets us know, like, they drank a lot the night before, and he saw another side of her that was up front. And they were just talking about how they got here. And I was like, I'm not even sure what they mean, or maybe how they got on maps. She said things are going well, but she doesn't want to dive straight into real feelings without knowing his intentions, because at the end of the day, this is the man that she might lose her virginity to. So, because we missed their conversation last night when they had too much to drink, they're having it again for our benefit. And she asks, like, you're a good looking guy. You can have anyone. Why are you doing it this way? And he's like, to him, it's like a why not? And I have to say, like, this is where, what I mean by Iris is on 100, because I'm saying this, but the way she asked it is like, well, I just have to ask you because, like, you're a good looking guy. You can have anyone that you want. Why are you doing
Hmm.
it this way? Why do you have to come here? Why do you? So it makes everything sound more intense
Yeah.
than it actually is. Like, it could be just a casual question, but she's so 1000 on it. So
And I
he
don't know
said
if
it's a.
if that was her ADHD where she was like, this is on my brain and I have to get it out all at once. But the whole piece of like, well, do you want longevity out of this, or you're only in this for the 8 weeks and then you're out? Like, what? Out of all of the people who you should have concerns about, let's have concerns about Matt, whose family was not there. Let's not have concerns about Keith, who integrated his whole family into all of this. If anybody's taken this seriously, it's Keith, but he handles her so well.
So wait, did she tell us she has ADHD?
I think I assumed that because at the brunch with his mother, she said something, and then the mom says, "Oh well, don't worry, I have Adderall in my bag."
Oh, okay, gotcha. I thought it was a joke, but yeah, okay. We'll just say allegedly.
Allegedly, sorry.
That covers everything. So we don't know. But yes, they are talking about, he's like, he hasn't had the best luck. And this is another way that he had to give, the best version of himself. And it was scary and uncomfortable. And he took a leap of faith. And then she's like, okay, I can understand that. And this is where she asks, like, if this is longevity, could this last past the 8 weeks? Is this 8 weeks of fun? Like Jen said, like, I just always think this is a dumb question. You're putting too much pressure on yourselves. Like, when you're on a honeymoon, no one's saying don't ask the deep questions, don't build your foundation, but also don't set yourself up for failure.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
Exactly.
assume the best until proven otherwise. If
Hmm.
someone went through this, not to say there are not some people who are coming on here for some kind of platform or to get something out of it, but if they went through it and they're here, like you also said, involving the family, remember his parents weren't even on board with it and all that stuff, just assume that it is. Because for some people, maybe they're just seeing it as, why not? Why wouldn't I do this and take a risk? But then they might also fall in love. It's not like anybody goes out and says, today is the day I'm going to fall in love. We don't know. No one knows what's going to happen. Just think of it as a leap of faith. I'm going to see how it goes, because you even asking that question, you might be sabotaging it. You don't know.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
lean in. You've already taken that hard part to deciding to be on the show. You got matched. Lean into it, but asking all these questions. Even if he tells you, yeah, I'm here for the 8 weeks, what does that mean?
Right.
It means nothing if his actions don't align. So,
But
dumb
also, and
question
again,
too.
he's not somebody that's given her a reason to not trust his intentions. I think he handled the news of her virginity really well. He's really gentle with her. Like, there's nothing that we've seen anyway that gives any reason for her to have doubts. I mean, it makes sense to have doubts about the situation, but doubting him specifically, I don't see it. Like, he's just been so, communicative with her, and he's clear with her. And even when she asks hard questions, he answers them really calmly. He doesn't come at her with, like, what are you trying to accuse me of? He seems like the kind of calm that would be welcoming to her. So I don't know. But
Um,
I'm no longer a virgin, and I don't know what having to have this thing looming over my head would do to my perspectives and how
yeah.
I would need to test people. So maybe that's a perspective I don't have.
I think virgin aside, I don't fault her for having the question. I just think it's pointless.
Yeah.
And someone could appear nice. I mean, the most horrible people could be the nicest people. So then again, I don't mind her having the doubt.
Hmm.
It's just pointless, you know, to me. So yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
He says absolutely that he's in it for past the 8 weeks and in it for forever. And she likes his answer and they do everything but a high five. For context, last week I complained that all they do is high five each other and I don't like this homie zone that they're going into. They didn't do a high five, but they did some weird, awkward thing with each other, their fingers or something. And I'm like, you guys just kiss. I don't understand. That's your husband. So Keith asks about girl time when the girls all got together. Like, what was it about? And Iris said, "Oh, I just shared them about their journey." And she's like, "How about you?" And she said, like, he says, like, he mentioned it. She's like, "Oh my God, they all know now." And here she's like, really speaking a mile a minute, even worse than before. And then she says that she tells us that she and Beth have husbands that are level since they're both high spirited. So she does recognize that about herself. So it's good that they match them to keep them level. So he asked her like if she has any negatives, and she's like, "Well, you being on your phone all the time, not like I'm not on my phone, but I go in, I go out, and I'm done. But you kind of just like linger and stay there all the time." And Keith is like, "Oh, okay." But he tells us like, "Yeah, I feel differently." So I'm surprised that that's what she said. Like, I don't think I'm on my phone the way that she says that I am. She asked him for his and he says like, "I'm not a morning person, you're a morning person. Like, I'm not used to waking up, going straight into conversation." And he hopes that she can respect him needing, some time. And she's like, "You know what, I can do that. I can give that to you. I will understand that he needs a little bit more time." And at this point was when I noted that they still haven't spoken about her exes, if she has any exes.
Yes, that comes up later. Yes.
So yeah. So they are Keith has planned something for her. They're going on an excursion and they're going off the resort. She has no idea what they're doing, but Iris, being the person that she is going on and on and on and guessing. And she actually guesses what it is. They're going to swim with stingrays. And honestly, the water just reminded me that I need a vacation. It was so clear. It
It
was
was really
so
nice.
clear. Oh, I love
Beautiful.
water. So they have fun with all of that. And, they held the stingrays, they played around in the water, they did that, and it was just a fun time for them. They come back and they're having dinner, and Keith asks why there are 8 pieces of silverware. She explains dessert, appetizer, or something, and he's impressed by that. And Iris says that she knows this because she's classy. I'm not picking on her. I just
I mean, I learned it from Pretty Woman, so I can't say that I went to any kind of